The Bahamas Tonight Northern Edition starts now.
Switching gears now, URCA, the Utilities Regulation and Competition Authority, taking its education town meeting to the Foster B. Pestina Center last night. And for those in attendance, questions surrounding the GB Power Company and the role of URCA as a regulator dominated much of the discussion. Megan Shepard was there.
CEO Stephen Barreau emphasizing to residents in attendance that these series of meetings are in an effort to extend their reach throughout the islands of the Bahamas. He admits that URCA has lost touch somewhat with what is happening outside of New Providence. He says the regulatory body plans to travel throughout the rest of the Family Islands to make sure their presence is felt.
We've looked at the islands in the context of the population, our stakeholders on those islands, and we're seeking to find ways to engage more strongly, more significantly outside of New Providence. As most people will be aware through the press and elsewhere, we have had challenges within Grand Bahama in relation to the impact of the Freeport area and the Hawksbill Creek Agreement on URCA's jurisdiction as defined in the law. We, however, have taken the view that we have a responsibility to people throughout the Bahamas, as the legislation says. And in fact, the legislation specifically includes the port area in Grand Bahama. What decisions may be made by courts as we go forward will be determined, and that will all happen in time. But in the meantime, URCA considers ourselves as having an obligation to regulate all or both of the sectors we regulate throughout the Bahamas, including Grand Bahama and the port area.
Barreau explains what that means going forward.
What that means is that we have decided that we are going to take those steps that we can, or those steps that we should, and we will address the realities of the legal proceedings as they come. We are not going to be held back, so we are here to engage with the population in Grand Bahama, not only on the electronic communication sector, which is reasonably stable in terms of the jurisdictional issues, but also on the electricity sector. We have designed a work plan, but obviously because of the history, it's been primarily focused on New Providence and the rest of the Bahamas. We feel it's necessary for us to be here to hear from you on how we should approach or those parts of our mandate.
Now, during the question and answer period, most residents had concerns regarding the electricity sector. Some felt that residential rates are too high, while others said that even when they cut back, bills remain the same. Others pointed out that they believe they have lost electronics and appliances due to power surges, but could not come to an amicable agreement with the power company. One resident suggested that URCA employ qualified persons to conduct home inspections on behalf of the regulator.
So we have to change how we operate, and I agree with you. I want to say that we have not heard the need for inspections and for people who can come out, qualified, suitably qualified people, and that can take time, just getting suitably qualified people, but also setting up the framework under which those suitably qualified people can go into the field and come into your home and inspect, and do so in a way that the power company cannot object or challenge the decisions that these people have made. Our process is designed the way it is because what we do, we don't have a rule that says the power company shouldn't damage your equipment. Well, we have a rule that says they have to deliver power of a particular type. And they have that responsibility to you because you have a contract with them. So as Mr. Cambridge mentioned and Mrs. Johnson-Colley mentioned, the first step has to be you go to them.
Megan Shepard, ZNS Network News.